Ladies and gentlemen, today we are ranking every member of the Justice League, and we are on tiermaker.com. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Now, full disclosure, here's what we're doing. We actually have a list of all of the Justice League members as of the cartoon Justice League Unlimited. We are going to be ranking them here. Of course, you know, a tier list works. You should know how this works. S tier being the best, D tier being the worst. Everything in between should be pretty self-explanatory. But we're going to take the members, we're going to put them in there, and we're going to have a great time with it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm K-Swope, and I'm the only YouTuber you know that has the approval of the band Hoopastank, okay? There's your proof in the pudding, okay? Hoopastank loves me, I love Hoopastank, and the reason is you. Now, let's go ahead and move on. Here, we are on tiermaker.com. As you can see, we have the Justice League members at the bottom, and of course, we have the tier list there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place some members. We're going to talk about things. Looks like they're starting us off strong with Wonder Woman. I was thinking about this a little bit. Wonder Woman, of course, everyone knows Wonder Woman. She's, you know, one of the three big DC heroes that just about everybody knows. I mean, she's got to be S tier straight up, especially within the context of the Justice League, because Wonder Woman is one of the three, you know, Justice League Trinity as we think of them. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. She deserves to be up there because if I think of the Justice League Trinity, I think those three members are key. They're crucial because Wonder Woman, the thing that's great about her is she might not be as powerful as Superman or as resourceful as like Batman, but she's got some great diplomatic skills, and I think that's very, very useful, especially I mean, if Justice League was more realistic and we're setting it in our normal American society, people are going to ask questions. They need someone who can give good answers. Wonder Woman's got that strong leadership quality where she can do that, and I mean, not to mention, you know, she kicks butt, cool powers, cool origin story, all that stuff. So I don't think I have to explain a whole lot why Wonder Woman deserves to be an S tier, but there she is. Hopefully you guys understand and enjoy that. Next, Dr. Fate, ladies and gentlemen. Kent Nelson himself. Dr. Fate's interesting. I love Dr. Fate. I think he's really, really cool. But to be honest, I gotta just put him in A tier, I think, to start. I might move this around a little bit later. Because for those of you guys who don't know, Dr. Fate's kind of like DC's version of Doctor Strange, pretty much. But a lot cooler, with a cooler helmet, cooler getup, cooler everything. And he's got some type of, like, I don't know, Egyptian ties, because he's throwing those little Egyptian peace signs or whatever they're called around. So that's interesting. I don't know a ton about the character per se, but I know enough to know that he's cool. I mean, he was in this show, obviously. He was in Young Justice. That was awesome. He was also in Black Adam. Very important role in Black Adam. And he's cool in everything he's in. He was in Injustice 2, the video game. So I've never seen an appearance of Dr. Fate that made him look like a not cool and powerful character. All right, moving things on to Green Arrow. Green Arrow, legend. Again, character I really, really like. Now, Green Arrow is interesting because as far as powers and abilities go, he's basically like Batman, but all of his powers and abilities are, you know, within bow and arrow type of stuff. You ever watch the show Arrow? Arrow's great, by the way. Mostly great. More thoughts on that another time. But Arrow, generally good show. They make him more Batman-esque in that show than he is like in Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon, and in most other DC media. So you got to keep that in mind when you're, you know, ranking things. I do like Green Arrow a lot. I'm going to put him in A tier as well, because although he's great, he does not quite have the same usefulness as Batman, because I don't think he's quite as good and skilled as Batman. He's rich, though, so, you know, that's always helpful. He's also got more of an ego than Batman does, too, so that's going to do more harm than good, but he's still an amazing hero. I love him very much. Then we got Supergirl. So Supergirl, fun character. Her thing, I mean, similar to Superman, she's actually, you know, in the comics and stuff, more powerful than Superman is and even older than Superman is. Now, I think it's interesting because she lacks a lot of maturity, and you can see that in almost, I think, every Supergirl, except maybe the Supergirl show, maybe. But I think in most other Superman or Supergirl projects that we see her in, we see that she lacks that maturity, and that makes her a bit of a loose cannon. So I do like the character a lot. For now, I think I'm going to put her in B tier. Again, this might change. This might move around. I think I'm going to stick her in B for now. Then we got Captain Atom. Now, Captain Atom's interesting. I got to talk about him because he's a character I don't really know a whole lot about. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. Whenever I see him, he's not really in action doing things. And I can't really tell a whole lot what his powers, per se, are, so I'm actually going to cheat. I'm going to jump over to the, here we go, we're on the wiki here. So Captain Atom says on here abilities, flight, super strength, energy, siphon, and manipulation, military training. So I've never really, like, he doesn't stand out. So I don't think he's like a bad character per se, but he's very like unoriginal. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna throw him in C tier, honestly. Then we got Tyrion, the demon guy, whatever his name is. I mean, he's okay, I guess. I mean, he's just kind of like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, you know, kind of goes ultimate Green Goblin when he's angry or flared up or whatever. He's okay. I'm gonna stick him with Captain Atom in C tier, honestly. Hawk and Dove. These two are probably gonna go together because they are a tag team duo. They're really boring in my opinion. I've seen them in Justice League. I've read a Titans comic that had them in, and they were in the Titans show. And I don't know, Hawk, they've always just seemed very boring to me. Like, I don't like either of these characters that much. And honestly, I'm gonna stick them both in D tier for that, because they also don't provide anything interesting to the table, if you ask me. I mean, some interesting dynamics between the two characters, not a whole lot interesting, you know, as far as anything else goes, to be quite honest. Zatanna is interesting, mainly because I mean, she's a wizard, she does cool wizard stuff, she casts spells by saying things backwards. That's unique. She's an interesting character, she's got close ties to characters like Batman and things like that. But I don't know, when I think of Zatanna, I think more of a, like, I don't know, Nightwing, Dick Grayson age character. And so, I don't know, I always think of her as more of a Teen Titans or Young Justice character than I really do a Justice Leaguer, a full-fledged Justice Leaguer. So, I think I'm gonna stick her in B with Supergirl for now. I think that's good compromise. The Question, ladies and gentlemen, the Question. Okay, I love this guy. Dude's like Alex Jones, but like less eccentric. It's hilarious. Like, he's the kind of guy who would say that they're putting chemicals in the water, turning the freaking frogs gay, and it's gonna be hilarious, okay? But seriously though, like, he's right, but he's like the most conspiracy theorist guy ever. And I just think it's so funny that they made such a unique, interesting hero on that. And I mean, of course, in the Justice League Unlimited show, he does a lot. So I got to give him a lot of credit there. So this is going to be really controversial, but I think I'm going to put him in the S tier. Behind Wonder Woman, of course, though. Wonder Woman is, you know, much more better and useful than the Question, but love that guy so much. We got our next lineup individual from the original show being Hawk Girl. Hawk Girl, she's interesting, but honestly, like, I just think her gimmick's kind of lame. Like, she's just got the wings and the little mace, that's what it is, the mace, that she just kind of swings around everywhere. And Hawk Girl and Hawkman, I've just never really liked that much as characters. And so I think I'm honestly sticking her in C tier, not gonna lie. I'm gonna put her right there between these two gentlemen. Here's something I might say that's controversial, maybe might not, but Booster Gold. Now, I don't know what's wrong with his colors in this tier thing here, but like, Booster Gold is amazing. I love Booster Gold. He's hilarious. He does have some flaws though. I mean, he's very self-centered. He's trying to get better at that. Like, it's a character flaw that he's aware of that he's trying to work on, but he's so fun. He is really fun. I think I gotta put him in A tier, honestly, guys. He's pretty great. Then we got the Atom. The Atom is a character who is pretty interesting. I mean, he's a, you know, scientist, Ray Palmer. Now, this version we're looking at here, and this is the version I think of, you know, comics Atom, not so much Legends of Tomorrow Atom, where he's basically Iron Man who can shrink. I still think the shrinking powers are kind of cool. I don't think he uses them as cool as, say, like Ant-Man. Ant-Man uses them in really cool, creative ways, but he's still able to do it, and he can get even smaller than Ant-Man, easier than Ant-Man can. And so I do like the Atom a lot. I think I'm actually going to stick him in B tier between Supergirl and Zatanna. So we got Long Shadow. I don't really have anything to say about him. I hardly remember him. I vaguely remember the episode he was in, Ultimatum. And he was one of the most forgettable parts of that episode for me. I know, you know, changed sides, became good and all that stuff. But, like, again, just very forgettable character. I've never read, or I don't think seen any DC stuff with him in other than this. So I'm throwing him in the D tier. At least, you know, Hawk and Dove, you know, they've been in other stuff. I'm familiar with the characters, at least vaguely. This guy, no, I can't give him that same credit. However, Vixen, our next hero, yeah, she's very interesting. She's a pretty cool hero. You know, she's got the ability to channel, like, animal powers and instincts and things like that, which is pretty neat. I don't think it's better than some other characters. I think it's less cool than someone like Beast Boy, where he actually, you know, fully morphs. But I mean, it's very useful power. So I think I'm gonna put her at the front of C tier, honestly. Oops, that's not right. Black Canary. Black Canary is a fantastic character, honestly. She gets a lot of love, but I think she deserves a little more love too, because she is, like, really cool. I mean, in hand-to-hand combat, she's fantastic. The whole Canary Cry element is also really cool because she doesn't lean on that. Like, her only superpower is the Canary Cry, which is, you know, pretty cool. But she doesn't rely on that, and I think that's really, really cool. And I know back when I was growing up in, like, middle school talking superhero stuff with my friends, we would always talk about Batman and how great he is because he doesn't have to rely on any powers. He can have his powers taken away from him because it's all skill, right? And even though she has powers, she still has that skill, so she is still useful without her powers. And that makes her, I think, very, very valuable. So I think I'm actually going to put her... Do I? Maybe? Okay, I did not imagine doing this before, but I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to put her in S tier, honestly. I think I'm going to put her in front of the Question. Yeah, because very underrated character. So is Wildcat, honestly. I love Wildcat. Now, I love him a lot. His powers and abilities are nothing to, you know, brag about. He's, you know, He's an older guy, but he's like a pro boxer. And so he uses those skills to fight crime and stuff like that, which is not really the most versatile way to fight, to be quite honest. But I just really like his old rough and tumble attitude, style, things like that. So I really like him. I think I can only put him in B tier, though, honestly. And to be fair, I do like him a little more than Zatanna, so I am going to put him there. Maybe not quite as much as the Atom, but yeah. Huntress is an interesting character. I mean, she's kind of all right, but I feel like DC wants to make her bigger than she is, in my opinion, especially during this time when, you know, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited were coming out. I mean, she's like an all right character. My problem with a lot of superhero stuff is you make new heroes and they just seem kind of unoriginal. They don't really provide anything new or different to the table. And I just feel like Huntress, there's like a bunch of characters out there with similar MOs who do similar things, and she's just not really impressive to me. I mean, she's like cool and useful and stuff. I think I'm gonna stick her, put her on the end of C tier, honestly. Shazam, guys, I love this dude. The OG Captain Marvel. Billy Batson says magic words. Shazam, he turns into basically what is a magical version of Superman, where he's got similar powers. They're a little different, but they're very similar, especially in terms of power scale. Like he could go, in fact, he did go toe-to-toe with Superman in an episode of Justice League Unlimited, and I love the character. He's held back a lot by his maturity, given that he is a child who literally just says magic word, gets big, but I really do like him. I'm going to put him at the top of A tier. All right, Vigilante. Now, if this were the Vigilante from Peacemaker or the comics, I would be like, heck yeah, he's great, and I'd put him really high. This Vigilante is not that Vigilante. It's a completely different character, and I don't really like him. All he does is shoot guns and say old Western type things like, ah, gosh, dang, son of a boy fell into the creek again. And I'm like, okay, I don't like that. He's easily going to D tier. He might be at the bottom of D tier, actually. Yeah, not fun. The Flash, okay. Everybody loves the Flash. My hat that I wear in like almost every video is a Flash hat, as I'm sure you can see right now. So obviously I love the Flash. He's awesome. And Wally West Flash, okay, I think that character deserves a lot more love than he gets. They're showing him a little more love in the comics recently. Personally, I love Wally West a lot better than Barry Allen. And so I really love, especially in the show, that Wally West is the Flash. So I got to throw him up there. I'm going to put him ahead of Black Canary. I don't know if I can put him quite ahead of Wonder Woman. I like the Flash as a character better than Wonder Woman, but as far as powers and usefulness go, generally speaking, I think Wonder Woman provides more to a Justice League team than the Flash does. So that's why I'm putting that there. Then we got Fire. She's okay. She's all right. I mean, she turns into fire. She shoots fire. Green fire, which is really interesting. That's unique. But yeah, her and her sister Ice, which we'll get to Ice at some point. They're both all right. I don't know. I don't know anything about them really. And as far as I can tell, it's like, yeah, those are cool things and all, but it's just mid if you ask me. So I'm gonna put her at the end of C tier. Stargirl's a pretty interesting character. I know there's the Stargirl TV show. I have not watched all of that. I've watched a little bit, and it's surprisingly good. A lot better than I thought it was going to be going into it, but I do appreciate that show. Cool character. I think the fact that she's a teenage superhero is also very interesting, stuff we don't see very much anymore. I mean, her staff is basically sentient in a lot of ways, and she gets... I mean, basically, her staff is what gives her all of her powers and abilities because they all basically come from the staff. So she flies with it. She shoots things from it. I mean, that's the gist of it. So powers are, you know, kind of boring-ish, but also, you know, I think she's a cool, fun character. So I think I'm also going to put her in B tier. And Stripe is okay. I mean, I just kind of think of him as, you know, Stargirl's sidekick who is just like kind of in a robot suit and just kind of follows her around and, you know, does some stuff, but is not really a distinct character. Like, I don't see much interesting characterization coming from Stripe, the robot guy. So I'm probably going to stick him in C tier and probably even low C tier, like behind Fire, to be quite honest. And there's Orion, the New Gods guy. I don't know much about the New Gods, but I know this guy has a really funny looking helmet that looks kind of cool. And this really cool, like, it's like a Segway that flies that he like shoots things out of. That's pretty cool. So I just did a brief bit of Googling on Orion just, you know, to try to find some more stuff about him. Really interesting past. He is from Apocalypse. He is considered as Darkseid's second son. So he's got some really cool technology. I guess that's where his weird, you know, hover chair, Segway thingy, whatever comes from. He seems pretty powerful. I don't know much about him as a character personally, so I can't put him too high just for pure lack of knowledge. But I think I can at least put him definitely in C tier. Maybe in front of Fire. Feeling good about that. Guys, we have who I now consider to be one of the GOATs, Mr. Terrific. Since Superman, I do like this character quite a lot. I kind of knew of him and liked him before, but like I think they did a really good job of displaying what he's fully capable of in Superman. And so if you would have asked me this pre-Superman movie coming out, I would have not put him as high as I think I'm going to. But he is easily A tier. And in fact, I think I'm going to put him in front of Dr. Fate. Yeah, I'm feeling good about that. But terrific character, pun intended, obviously. Shining Knight. He is a knight. He has a sword and a Pegasus. That's cool, I guess. Doesn't provide much, so he's getting slapped down here, I guess, in front of Long Shadow because, you know, he's got the Pegasus, and, you know, the Pegasus is cool. Then, guys, we have Superman. You know exactly where Superman's going. He's going to the top of the list right now. I mean, he's Superman. Do I need to say more? I don't think so. Then we got Metamorpho, okay. Another character that was in the new Superman movie. Metamorpho is a pretty cool character. I do like him quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say. I mean, he can turn his body into just about anything, which is, you know, really cool, really unique. Very, very useful power. So he's definitely got to go in A tier. I think I'm going to put him behind Booster Gold. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Then we got Elongated Man, who's basically like Plastic Man, but not as cool. And that's basically all there is to him. And Plastic Man is on this list at some point, which I'll make some jokes about him later. And with Plastic Man here, I don't know why we even need Elongated Man. So I'm going to put him in the front of D, to be quite honest. We got Martian Manhunter, guys. Martian Manhunter, he's a great character, okay? He's really cool. He's got a cool, you know, origin story and stuff like that, being, you know, a literal Martian. His powers are really cool and really, really powerful. He's got a weakness to fire, which is not useful at all. So that's kind of a big damper. But the thing that I dislike most about Martian Manhunter, especially in Justice League Unlimited specifically, and a lot of times we see him in other media, is that all he does is just sit around the watchtower and just tell people when stuff's going on. And I just think that's a bad use of power, because I think he is really a great hero and great character. I'm putting him in S tier straight up. I'm also going to make myself a little smaller. There we go. So we have more room in the S and A tier. Then we got B'wana Beast. He is a literal freak of nature, and he makes me really uncomfortable.
Certified freak. 7 days a week.
He is going in D tier. He's going in the front of D tier though, because his powers are useful. They are just really, really weird. They make me quite uncomfortable. Red Tornado is a cool character. He's basically like DC's version of Vision, wherein, you know, he's a robot, but he's, you know, sentient, and, you know, he kind of has, I don't know if he quite has feelings and emotions per se, but, you know, he wants to be a normal person, wants to blend in, wants to know what it's like to be human. Powers are pretty cool too. I mean, he can like fly, and he can like shoot like whirlwinds out of his arms and stuff. And I've always kind of liked the character ever since like Batman Brave and the Bold. That was my introduction to him. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I do like Red Tornado a lot. Maybe not the best character here though. I think I'm going to put him though in front of, the Atom, to be quite honest. Next up we have Carmen Sandiego. I mean Crimson Avenger. I know almost nothing about this character. I did a quick like Google search, and it said, you know, he's got a gas gun that shoots a tear gas like substance. And that seems quite useless. And the fact that he does not use actual guns makes him even more useless than Vigilante, who uses actual guns, obviously. So he's getting chucked back there. We got Speedy, a.k.a. Red Arrow, a.k.a. Arsenal, a.k.a. whatever you want to call him, depending on what you're looking at. And I love Roy Harper. I think he's a great character. So he's definitely not going to be getting put that low, I tell you that much. I mean, he's definitely not as mature as, like, Green Arrow, but also I think I've actually read more comics with Roy Harper in, because Red Hood and the Outlaws is, like, my favorite comic series of all time. I've read more Speedy content than I actually have Green Arrow content, so I do like him better as a character. So I'm biased. I'm going to put him in front of Metamorpho. Then, ladies and gentlemen, there's a star. Starman, I know nothing about him. The DCEU wiki has nothing about him really, other than the fact that, hey, he shows up, but he's never actually named by name. I guess that picture down there of him going like, Shah Rukh Khan is his only picture he's got. So yeah, I don't really know. He shoots energy beams, which seems, you know, kind of cool. That might be, you know, more useful than some of these characters down here. So put him in front of Elongated Man. Then we got Atom Smasher. He's kind of cool. He's like the reverse Atom. He's like the giant man to the Atom's Ant-Man. Pretty cool character. I mean, not a whole lot to say. He was, of course, also in Black Adam, which I actually liked that movie a good bit. It wasn't a masterpiece, wasn't, you know, fantastic, didn't blow me away, anything like that, but it was decent enough. And Atom Smasher, I think the character's not bad, but not great either. So I think I'm probably just going to stick him also in C tier. I like him right there, right under Vixen, because Vixen's a good character. I don't see me changing my opinion on that at all. Now, I'm going to take a moment real quick and go through and just reevaluate who I have where and stuff like that, because I might want to make some changes here and there. I'm going to make a change right now. I'm going to swap Supergirl with Metamorpho. Put Metamorpho up at the top of B as soon as this wants to act right. Yeah, there we go. All right, this guy I had to look up. His name is Sand, and he can, like, I don't know, morph into sand and control other like compounds and liquids and stuff and blah, blah, blah. We already have guys that do that. I don't know the first thing about this guy. I don't know diddly squat about him. So I think I'm going to put him just right in front of Crimson Avenger. We have Dr. Light. She shines bright like a diamond, and that's like it, I think. So, I mean, she's okay, but she's not that useful. I'm going to throw her probably in D tier, but above Starman, just because at least she does something original. This is Rocket Red. Don't know a single thing about him, although I will say we are in the part officially, in case you have not picked up on this earlier, where we're going through some really strange characters that a lot of people have not heard of. But the little bit of research I did, Red Rocket's kind of like another Iron Man figure, so like Stripe, except no one knows who he is. And so what I do with the duplicates, I throw them in the D tier, and he's probably gonna go like, I don't know, in front of Dove. By the way, Hawk should go in front of Dove because Hawk is a lot cooler than Dove is. Now I'm gonna have to scroll down a tad. There we go, so we can see everything again now, hopefully. But again, here we go. Batman, obviously, you know where Batman goes. Batman, like my favorite character of all time. He is going to the head of S, obviously. That was no thought about that, obviously. All right, so this guy down here, that's Aztec. I just looked him up because, again, never heard of him. But apparently, he seems like he's, you know, pretty powerful. I mean, he's a combination of both, like, magic and technology. And so he's got a super suit that can basically do things like Superman can, but he's also got stuff like invisibility and, like, infrared vision. And, you know, that's some pretty cool, decent stuff. So, I mean, I don't know anything about him, so I don't think I can put him any higher than C tier. But he sounds pretty cool. And so I'm going to put him somewhere around Orion, I guess. Maybe. I'll put him behind Orion. At least I've heard of Orion. All right, so this is something that you're probably not going to see coming, but this guy down here is Wave Rider. Now, again, I don't know nothing about him. I did a quick Google search just to get some information. Here's the deal with him. I'm not entirely sure what all of his powers are, but they do involve time travel, and time travel is seriously OP. And in fact, the ship from Legends of Tomorrow, if you've ever watched that show, it's called the Wave Rider. It is, of course, named, you know, with this character in mind, which is really, really interesting. So I think that's really cool. Again, I don't know the character that well, but that power is incredibly useful. So he's got to go to the top of C tier. Then we got Vibe, okay, Mr. Good Vibrations himself. Now, Vibe has some cool powers and abilities. He can manipulate like sound and stuff like that. And I mean, he's kind of a cool dude. I mean, he's got a cool vibe. Pun intended. Terrible pun, I know. Sue me later. He's all right. I'm gonna put him in C tier probably. About right there. All right, gotta make everything even smaller again. Plastic Man does not have a picture, just a placeholder image that says Plastic Man, so that's fun. But Plastic Man is a really cool character, very powerful. He can morph his body, he can stretch, but he can also stretch into things, which is really cool. Sometimes it's cartoony, but I really, really like that, and I think that makes him about as powerful as Metamorpho. But I like Plastic Man better as a character, so I'm probably gonna put him in B tier in front of Metamorpho. Then we got Ice, who is Fire's sister, who is like fire, but can do ice stuff. Pretty much all there is to it. I like fires better than cold things, so I'm gonna put her underneath Fire as soon as this wants to cooperate. There we go. Then guys, we got Green Lantern, specifically John Stewart Green Lantern. Great character. Love Green Lantern. Love John Stewart. He's gonna be going up there pretty high. However, Green Lantern has always been a main staple of the Justice League lineup, and I think I gotta put him in S tier because of that. But I don't know, like, I guess I'll put him, gotta put him in front of Flash, to be quite honest. Like, I like the Flash better as a character, but as far as powers go, Green Lantern's so much more useful. I think I gotta move Martian Manhunter up too, actually. I don't think I realized that I put him so low in the S tier. All right, Dr. Midnight, he's got a pet owl and he's blind, but he can see in the dark. That's kind of lame, not gonna lie. He's a Justice Society member, and we're gonna see a few of those guys pop up. We've seen a few already, to be quite honest, but we're gonna see a few more pop up in this list, I know. Those powers are pretty lame. I mean, he can do martial arts and stuff, but that's only slightly cooler than Crimson Avenger. So put him here if this stupid thing wants to. There we go. We got Steel, guys. Steel is a great character, by the way, in case you don't know. He's some dude who, after the death of Superman in the comics, was like, hey, we need a Superman. I'm gonna build myself a suit with this little hammer. Not a little hammer, actually. It's a massive hammer. It's a sledgehammer. Build a suit with a hammer, and I'm gonna go take on bad guys. And it's crazy because it shouldn't work, meaning, you know, practically the suit does not make any sense to work, but it does anyways, and it's just kind of stupid fun and really fun. They actually made a Steel movie, in case you didn't know, that starred Shaquille O'Neal, that we do not need to talk about. But Steel's a really fun character. I do like Steel quite a lot. I gotta put him fairly high up here. I'm gonna put him right behind Supergirl. Speaking of Steel, we got Commander Steel. Now, here's the thing. When you think of Commander Steel, you probably think of Citizen Steel from DC's Legends of Tomorrow, okay? And let me tell you, Legends of Tomorrow, they really screwed up the character's powers and things, right? Because I don't think Commander Steel, if I'm mistaken, had any powers in that show. However, in the comics, Citizen Steel and Commander Steel have the same powers, which are basically kind of like a super soldier serum that like Captain America took back, in the 40s or whatever, except it's more powerful, meaning that it gave him, a few more than superhuman physical traits, okay? Like super speed, not like Flash super speed, but like fast super speed, strength, much more impressive strength than like, say, Captain America. Other stuff like that. So I think it's a cool character, generally speaking. I gotta put him above someone. He's probably going in C tier, to be quite honest. I think I'm gonna put him above Vixen, to be quite honest, because I just think he's a cooler character than Vixen is. Then we got Our Man. He takes a special magic potion that he made, and it gives him superpowers, but they only last for an hour until he's gotta take another dose. And that's a big weakness, and not really into it, not really feeling it, not really digging it. So I'm gonna definitely have to put him lower on this list somewhere. He's going right in front of Dr. Midnight, to be quite honest. We have the Creeper now. Guys, the Creeper is insane, literally. I mean, I love the character. I've not seen him in a whole lot, but like Jack Ryder is so fun. And this whole thing he has where he just kind of like freaks out and I guess kind of sort of mutates, depending on what continuity you're looking at, into this weird, flamboyantly colored guy is just insane. And he's a really, really fun character. Loose Cannon, he probably doesn't contribute that much to the team and all that, but I really do enjoy this character a lot. So I'm probably going to put him in front of Wildcat, actually, which is kind of weird. I did not see myself doing that today. This guy down here is Obsidian. He is another one of the old Justice Society members. Now, Obsidian is really, really cool. Again, I just looked him up just to get a little more idea of who he was. I saw him in Legends of Tomorrow. He was in an episode of that just very briefly. His powers are pretty awesome. So if you think Darkwing from like Invincible, right, where he can kind of step into shadows and travel through them and things like that, he can do that, but he can also use people's shadows to manipulate them in some sort of lower stakes psychic ability, which is really, really interesting. And so that's a really unique, useful power. He's also, by the way, the biological son of Alan Scott, the OG Green Lantern. So that's really, really cool. I gotta put him pretty high up here. Put him at the end of B tier, and that means I have to move myself to be even smaller now. All right, so this guy is Thunderbolt. He is basically like the genie to Johnny Thunder's Aladdin. So basically, Johnny Thunder will, I guess, make a wish, and Thunderbolt will, bring it to manifestation, which is a cool power, but I mean, just like any genie in a bottle, it's got its major drawbacks, as I'm sure you can see. So powerful, yes. As far as, Justice League on a team, something I've been considering as I'm putting these people around, that's not going to be super helpful. So I'll put him probably up here next to Wave Rider. All right, so this guy down here is Blue Devil, okay? I did some digging, did some research, find out who the character is, never heard of him. So, of course, I look. Turns out he is some dude who's like an actual demon. Here's the problem. Let me tell you what's going on. He's got to be D tier. And I'll tell you why, because if we're going to bring actual, physical truth into things, he's a straight up demon, and he's supposed to be fighting other evil threats and demons, which makes literally no sense. So I'm gonna pull all Bible nerd on you, and I'm gonna jump over to Matthew 12. Okay, this is of course in the NIV translation. Then they brought him a demon possessed man who was blind and mute, and Jesus healed him so that he could both talk and see. All the people were astonished and said, "Could this be the son of David?" But when the Pharisees heard this, they said, "It is only Beelzebub, the prince of demons, that this fellow drives out demons." Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, "Every kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and every city or household divided against itself will not stand. If Satan drives out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then can a kingdom stand? And if I drive out demons by Beelzebub, by whom do you drive them out? So then they will be your judges. But if it is by the Spirit of God that I drive out demons, then the kingdom of God has come upon you." That was Matthew 12, 22 through 25. Yeah, so if the Justice League want to get anything done, this guy's not going to help them at all, just straight up, given the character's lore. So, yeah, bottom of D tier. Again, house divided against itself cannot stand, and so you really can't do that. Demons are just pure evil, so it's not going to work. It's not going to work. All right, this is Crimson Fox. She does Crimson Fox stuff, and by that I mean she has like a pheromone perfume that she smells, sprays people with, and then she's got, agility and claws and stuff like that. Not gonna lie, it seems kind of lame. Not a big fan of that. I think I'm gonna put her behind Vigilante, because to be honest, like, sometimes he can't beat old-fashioned guns, and that's the only reason why Vigilante is where he is on this whole thing. All right, this is Gypsy. She can phase through walls and stuff. That's cool, I guess, but that's like it. Slap her in D-tier in front of a Shining Knight. Then we got Johnny Thunder, who's nothing without his imp. So because he needs his imp, he's going like almost bottom of the barrel because, you know, by himself he's worthless. Thunderbolt's all the heavy lifting there. Next we got the Ray. Now the Ray's pretty cool. He's basically like the DC version of Nova from Marvel. I mean, some different, you know, origin stuff here and there, but as far as powers go, more or less the same. And I've always really liked and appreciated Nova's powers and abilities. So the Ray, I'm gonna give him some slack. I'm gonna put him somewhere, you know, a lot more decent. I think I'll put him right behind Obsidian. Then we have Nemesis. Now Nemesis down here, he shoots guns. That is it. And so do a lot of other characters here. His getup's not as cool as Vigilante, so he's going behind there. I feel like he's gonna go here pretty low. He's gonna go in front of Crimson Adventure. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna be down there. Last we got Aquaman. Now, surprisingly, everyone rags on Aquaman, and I totally get that because Aquaman can be pretty lame sometimes. Okay. However, this Aquaman is a lot cooler. He's got that really cool metal hook arm thing, which is pretty nice, except he did have to cut his own hand off to save his son in Justice League. So, yeah, whatever. Aquaman in general, though, I mean, I think he's ragged on a lot. He's definitely not the coolest, not the best character in my opinion, but he's clearly not the worst. We've seen some more very boring generic characters in this, so compared to a lot of these, he's going to be going up a lot higher. So I'm probably going to take Aquaman and slap him in B tier right in front of Red Tornado. And ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at it. This is the final tier list. All Justice League members, specifically the ones from Justice League Unlimited, all ranked for you there. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Hopefully you like what I have here. If not, hey, let me know in the comments what you would have done, who you would have moved around. And again, some of these characters are really obscure and I've like barely heard of them. So if there's anything cool that I'm missing that might change my opinion, please let me know because I love DC. I love these characters. So if you know something really cool and interesting about them that I don't, that might change my opinion, I'd love to hear what you have to think and say about them. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap things up for this video. For more videos like this, reviews and commentary, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm doing it all the time. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to wrap things up for me here today. I'm K-Swope, and I will see you in the next one.